Hi, my name is Kevin Gallagher from Boston University and the Global Development and Environment Institute at Tufts University. Today I have the opportunity at the Dutch Embassy in Beijing, China, to talk to Deborah Brautigam. She's the author of the new book, The Dragon's Gift, The Real Story of China and Africa. She's a full professor at American University in Washington, D.C. Dr. Brautigam, so let me just come out and ask, is China the new colonialist of Africa?
I know a lot of people have said that China's the new colonial power in Africa. And there are some similarities. China's interest in Africa is largely about natural resources, but that's just the beginning. China's interest is much broader than that. It's about diplomacy, but it's also about business. And in that way, I think China's not the new colonialist, but this is the new globalization. And Africa has an opportunity now to enter into the global economy on terms that are a little bit different than they've been offered in the past. And Chinese companies are interested in way more than resources there. You find that China's largest investment so far has been 20% of a bank in South Africa. You find that Africa is a $50 billion market for Chinese companies. And this is not just low and cheap consumer goods, but this is equipment, this is vehicles, this is manufacturing materials. So there's a lot going on there that's over and above grabbing natural resources. And we can look at construction contracts. In 2008, Chinese companies reported revenues of $20 billion for construction contracts. So they're really rebuilding the infrastructure of Africa. And I think it would be an error there also to see this just as building roads and railroads to export resources back to China, because there are all sorts of pieces of infrastructure that have nothing to do with natural resources that Chinese are doing.
That's really interesting. So China's approach seems to stand in stark contrast to the more Western-oriented NDG kind of approach to poverty alleviation in Africa. Is there a distinct difference here?
There's a very distinct difference, because the Chinese are an East Asian developmental state. They're using a lot of different instruments to promote their own interests in Africa. And they express this as being about mutual benefit. In the West, we don't think about our engagement as far as foreign aid goes as being about mutual benefit. Now, that's debatable whether or not that's even the case. But we tend to separate out our business engagement, which we have a lot of companies doing a lot of things in Africa that are not also great. And then our foreign aid, which is much more pure and much more oriented about good governance, poverty reduction. The Chinese put all that together. And so aid becomes one more instrument that's part of a whole package. It's about diplomacy, it's also about business and commerce. So their engagement overall is about doing business in Africa in a number of different sectors. And Nigerian officials said to me, the West comes here to Nigeria and it's oil, nothing but oil. But China comes and they want to get involved in every sector of our economy. And that's what a lot of countries are reporting that they're seeing.
So you say that China may be, contrary to what others say, the gift for Africa. Do you think it will succeed? Unfortunately, so many other approaches to the region have not worked so well in the past.
Chinese are not about benevolence. They're not about altruism. The gift that they're giving is more in the nature of a revision of what Africa's position in the world is. That Africa is not just a place of war and chaos and failed states and starving children, which is how we tend to look at it in the West. But Africa is a place where there are opportunities, where there's potential, where Chinese companies go to Africa and they say, you know, there's not that much competition here. We can do really well compared to in China. And so this idea that Africa is a place that can be a business investment environment like any other part of the world is a new thing for Africa. And of all the gifts that China is giving, I think that might be the most important.
Thanks a lot for your time.